Hello and welcome to Btown Real Property Talk. I'm Lance DeSilva, your host, and today we're going to be talking about a very important topic that affects home ownership for all people, and that is the affordable housing crisis that we have on our hands. Today, I've got a special guest, Peter Iversen, who's going to help me talk about this important topic. He currently serves on the Monroe County Council and recently launched his campaign for Monroe County Commissioner for the 2024 election. Peter, welcome to the show.
Well, Lance, thank you so much. It's a great opportunity to be here, and I'm really excited about today's conversations and excited about what you do for our community and talking about ways to make our community better together.
I actually read the other day that in the US, we have a shortage currently of 3.8 million homes compared to the number of buyers that are trying to purchase homes. And just to give people context, in 2012, we still had a shortage, but that shortage was 1.65 million home shortage. So in a little over 10 years, we've more than doubled the shortage that we have in our country. And I think we've seen similar numbers and we've seen similar things happening in Monroe County. And so
Yeah.
if you could comment a little bit from your perspective, how do you think we got here?
Yeah, those numbers are shocking, and it really underscores what a lot of us are calling the housing crisis. And one of the anecdotes that I like to share is that we were talking a while ago, and I talked to a lot of people. I have a lot of coffees that you hear in Monroe County. This is a college town, and there's a lot of really smart, accomplished folks here. And I just want to put kind of a face to those numbers that you shared, where talking about there are folks in this community who are working at Indiana University. They have advanced degrees. Their household income is well over six figures, and they're still having a hard time finding a home that they can move their family into here in Monroe County. The housing crisis is very real, and my heart goes out to folks like that because it's got to just be tough to have a growing family and you've got a good career, you've got good jobs, and you just want to have that nice home where you can celebrate different holidays. We're coming into the holiday season, having that Thanksgiving table or the holidays in December and just have that time and that place to be together. So, Lance, those numbers you share, they've got those human faces, and I that's really important for us.
I wonder, in from your perspective, Peter, what would you say is at stake here? We know that the issue has gotten worse over the last several years. It's
Yeah.
always been an issue since the last market crash in '08. Once we rebounded from that, inventory's been low since that time, and it's kind of gotten progressively worse. What would you say is at stake for our community?
Lance, there's so much at stake for our community. This is really a pivotal time. When I was talking a little bit earlier about that family that had a good job, advanced degrees, household income went over six figures, those people, when they can't find housing, they're looking for job offers in other communities. And we're losing those folks. And that plays a real big role in the type of community that we're living in. Because when you start having folks who have skilled professions, we're talking bankers, lawyers, folks that are working in any one of our major employers here, that when they are looking for jobs here in Monroe County, really good jobs, we've got some great employers here, but they can't find a home, they're looking elsewhere. So that really impacts not only the quality of our life here in Monroe County. It enriches us with those folks that live here, but it also means that it weakens our workforce. It also means that it's having impacts on our local economy.
There's currently a county development ordinance that's been a topic of discussion. And I was hoping that you could kind of let our listeners know what exactly is being proposed in this ordinance as we speak, and what does it mean for folks?
We were talking a little bit before about zoning, and this is the CDO stands for County Development Ordinance. And all that means is it's a really nice tool to kind of set out those different parcels around the county to describe them. What can you put here? How are they? What are their uses? What uses do you have on them? And it'll describe anything from the type of structures to the type of density, setback limits, and all those fun things. We could really nerd out and probably have an entire podcast on the different zoning features. But the reason why CDO or the County Development Ordinance is really top of mind right now is that the county is redoing their zoning for the first time in a couple decades. And so one of the benefits of doing this is that we used to have 24 different zones across the county. So you really needed an expert almost to figure out which zone you were in and what the uses were. It was really tricky and challenging. And so right now, what our planning department did in the Monroe County is they streamlined it. Now there's about a dozen or so zones. It really simplifies it for the user. The problem is that when they were redoing this zoning, they decided that having, and this is the county commissioners, they decided that having more rural space was more important than having more residential space. So you can see a shift in the percentage of parcels that are residential. That's actually going down. So there's less land that we can build houses on, but there's more land set aside for agricultural zoning. Now, you can still build houses on agricultural zoning, but it's going to be on really large lots, anywhere from 2 to 10 acres, sometimes even more. So not only is in this county development ordinance, is the residential areas going down, so that's the available land that you can build houses or residential buildings, but so is the area set aside for industrial uses and business or commercial areas.
You're never going to please everyone entirely, but is there a middle ground? Is there, and if there is, what does that look like and your plans?
I mean, it's really simple stuff, right? I mean, this is not rocket science. Number one is we need to frankly admit that we have a housing crisis and that the housing crisis is one of supply. There's simply not enough houses for folks to live in Monroe County. Full stop, period. And right now, the current county commissioners aren't acknowledging that. In fact, one of the things that's coming out of the plan commission is they actually like keeping the inventory low because it means that folks aren't going to move here. I think that's absolutely backwards. I think it is to our benefit to encourage folks to come to work here, come to live here in Monroe County. We've got some great medical device companies. Indiana University is a premier R1 research institution. We've got jobs that are available to folks, and bringing those really smart people, really great backgrounds, not to mention the income they're going to spend in our restaurants and in our businesses. We really need to say we are open for people to move here, but we need to build those houses. The second thing is we've got to get away from this binary thinking. The idea that someone has a philosophy because they don't want people to move here and their way, it's their way or the highway. And real true governance means that you're listening to everybody. It's a yes and philosophy. So when you are listening to the public, and that's my role, my job is to listen to the public. I represent the public. You're going to get 100 different solutions. Well, guess what? One of those solutions or multiple of those solutions really fit our community quite well. And the great thing about that mentality is that you're really taking advantage of the intellectual power that's coming from a college town. And I'll tell you one more thing. We don't have to reinvent the wheel. There are lots of communities dealing with this housing crisis that are in a similar situation as ours. It's really an enviable situation. We've got these great amenities. We've got this great demand for housing because of the university and our medical device companies and where we're at in the United States. It's a great place. We are primed to take advantage of these things. And right now, the county commissioners are not taking advantage of those things. They're running the other way. They're trying to run backwards. They're trying to turn the clock backwards. And that's why I'm running to say, let's move forward. Let's take advantage of the assets that we have here, and let's make sure that folks have housing. That really starts with electing Peter Iversen, that's me, to the county commissioners, because I'm going to be on that board to say yes to housing instead of no to housing like in 2019. I'm going to be the guy that's going to say, listen, our development or our zoning, it doesn't address the housing crisis. It doesn't address some of the things that we know is an issue, are issues. And so I think that's really, those are the reasons why it's really important to elect the right people to office who understand the community and understand kind of where we are in terms of our economy, in terms of the people. And it really comes back to the people. I'm going to keep coming back to that story that I shared at the beginning. Folks who have a lot of opportunity, but we don't have the right assets for them. And it's not that we can't do it, it's that we can. And that's why I'm running.